a job, right? Once you can get the work done, once you can get the job done, you can get a role and you will be treated fine on the international space. Even based in Ghana, once you can do the thing that they are asking you to do, you'll be given the role, and sometimes they will not say, hey, do you have a degree in this? Sometimes, okay, sometimes, depending on the type of role, that's the type of roles that we are looking at. Sometimes, yes. So it's very important that you're able to sit down with yourself and ask yourself some questions. What are my transferable skills? I think that a number of us are saying that we are students, so I'm going to give us a minute. What skills do you have already? What tasks do you enjoy doing? And what can you learn online? Can you put down one or two of these things? Or if you don't have something to write with, can you just float the ideas in your head for a minute? And then we'll take it from there. All right. So I'd like one volunteer. Anybody, would you like to volunteer if you're a beginner, like a complete fresh beginner? You've not done any remote work. Would you like to volunteer and just tell us what your skills are, what you're doing already, and what tasks you enjoy, and what you think that you can learn online that you can use to get some roles? Anybody, if you'd like to volunteer and just speak up for us so that we can get it a bit more practical. Anybody? Any volunteers? Okay, please speak. I see your hand up, but your name is not your device is labeled Techno, so I'm not able to call your name out, but please speak up. You can unmute and speak. Okay, so there's some people in the chat. Okay, so Serum says, I hope to learn Excel and data analysis by the end of the year. So Serum, my question for you is, if you want to land a remote role, let's say within the next month or two, and now your target is to finish learning this by the end of the year, realistically, will you be able to apply this to the roles that you'll be aiming to get in the next month or two? So can you add anything else for me, please? So that's Serum. So the Excel and data is great. It's great. But if you were to start looking for a role in the next month or two, will this be able to help you land any role? Because you don't have it yet. So what do you have that you can readily use? Oh, okay. So Michael wanted to volunteer, but he says his background. Michael, that's okay. You can also drop a message if you want. Okay. So Edna says she has customer service skills and she has good communication skills. So Edna Yaira Vitedu, we're going to use you as an example as we go along. All right. So she has good communication skills and she has customer service skills, which is a good thing. If she wanted to focus on these skills to land a role, she actually can. Awesome. All right. Let's move on to the next. So you need to have done all of these things like I just said. And so if you're a beginner, you need to do these things. Start from here. Start with these things. And so I hope that before we leave here, I hope you've made some notes and it will build up as we go. The next thing, now I've sat down and I know the skills that I have. I've sat down and I know that, oh, I did tech. And so I'm able to, I have a degree in that space, or software engineering. So I have a degree in that space. Or I taught myself how to code. So I have skills in that space. And so I know that there are people out there who exist, who actually who need people with this skill set. So the next thing I ask myself is, who do I want to work with? You need to decide who you want to work with. Okay, and we don't say this in the sense that you need to niche down. If you've ever heard of the term niching down, right? So just picking a particular segment or group of people, especially as a beginner, it's not always very advisable to niche down really, 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 really small, because it's okay to do things and to try and get better at it and do it a different way, right? So you don't necessarily have to niche down to the extreme. Say, oh no, I only want to work with white women based in Landing. They must specifically their street address must specifically be Sierra Whiskey 194. Please, that's not it. We're not saying be that specific, right? But you need to have something to work with, because when you are very vague and when you generalize this whole thing, that is how you realize you start applying any and everywhere, and then you get frustrated because you haven't sat down to ask yourself, who would I like to work with? Who would be my ideal company to work with? Who would be my ideal client to work with? You need to be able to ask yourself some of these things, right? And also just remember that when you apply any and everywhere, you spread yourself very, very thin. It may not look like it, but actually that is what happens, because you know the way we are told you can't serve two masters. That's how it kind of is. So you're applying for roles on LinkedIn, you're applying for roles on Upwork, you're applying for roles on Fiverr. I think everybody is familiar with these. Even if you haven't used it before, you know their names, right? If you are focusing on so many apps or systems or places or job boards to apply to things, because now you know your skills and you know how you can work and support people and all of that, you spread yourself thin. You go on LinkedIn, you realize that, oh, the energy that you use to apply on LinkedIn is quite high as compared to when you go to Fiverr, because there are so many people and maybe it's a bit intimidating, or it's just the vice versa, or it's just the other way around. Maybe you prefer Fiverr or Upwork, and so when you come on LinkedIn, you've made up your mind that, oh, you work on LinkedIn, but when you get there, that your heart. And this is all part of deciding who you want to work with. It goes into it. So you need to decide who you want to work with, who or whom. Which companies do you want to work with? I'm not saying go and say, oh, I want to work with Google, Amazon. No. Narrow it down and open it up just a little bit, but still have something to work with. Oh, I want to work for coaches. I want to work for founders. I want to work for startups. I want to work for companies that are not starting. They have also not reached full potential. They are in the middle. No. I want to work for companies that are fully established. Actually, I would like to work for women who are doing this and that. Oh, no, I would like to work for men who are doing this and that. And then even with this, it's okay to have like 2 or 3 different categories that you work with, because you're a beginner. Right. So we'll continue the same thing. In deciding who you want to work with, you also need to understand who needs your skills, right? So founders, coaches, online businesses, creators, agencies, whom I have just mentioned. Now, on that aside, you also need to ask yourself, where should these people be based? Should they be based in your home country? Should they be based in Europe? Should they be in the Americas or Australia? And this particular one is important because you need to keep this in mind, that the time zone in which you get the role affects how you are able to deliver, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, this time zone will or may affect it, right? So if you are in Ghana, you're working for someone based in the UK, we are mostly in the same time zone, until they switch to British Summer Time. When they switch to BST, then they are an hour ahead of us, and so it's just an hour difference. I believe if you're in Nigeria as well, you have clients in the UK, the difference is also just 1 hour, so it kind of works. Now, I'm using examples from mine. So I have a client who is in the UK, someone that I work with. So it's a business, it's a company. But I like to say clients because why not? And she's in the UK. So we're usually on her time zone, and then BST happens, but she moves to Norway. When she moves to Norway, she's British Norwegian of sort. When she moves to Norway, that time changes. Now, last year, she traveled quite a lot. She went to Portugal. Portugal's time difference, I believe, was 2 hours from mine. And then she went to India. That was the true test of character. Because India's time difference, I believe, was 5-ish or 6 hours. And we had to do some work. There was some urgent things we needed to finish. And we had to do it. And you had to do the calculation and 5 a.m. versus. It was interesting. It was really, really interesting. And so you need to keep this in mind. Now, if it is once in a while and the time difference is worrying a little bit, it's okay. But if it's consistently, you will stretch yourself thin and you might get tired before you realize it. Once again, it's also okay to challenge yourself, right? It's okay to challenge yourself and take on roles and say, oh, the person is based in Australia, I'll take it. Australia is a day, I believe, or less. I haven't worked with anyone in Australia. I've just seen the time differences. And so it's important that you have some of these things in mind. And down here I wrote, and yes, choose. You see, the deception is that talent from Africa, we accept anything. That's not how it's supposed to be, right? And so I want you to get it today. I know that you are starting, and I know that you're a beginner, or maybe an intermediate, because there are definitely some intermediates here. But don't settle, right? Don't go begging for the rules. Don't take on something that you can see that you will struggle. You can see that you'll be inconvenienced, but you will take it anyway. It's different. If you're trying to test yourself, you're just telling yourself, I can do this thing. Or you feel your intuition tells you, I know it's difficult, but I want to take it anyway. That's different. But if you're taking it just because you need the money, or, well, nothing else is coming, that is not your last option. Okay? Believe me, it's not. So please keep this in mind. Have a bit of an idea of where they should be based. It shouldn't be, it can be more than one place, right? So I'm not saying just say, oh no, they must be based in the UK or they must be based in my home country. They can be based in a number of people, but have an idea so that when you see somebody is hiring, a company is hiring from Norway, oh yes, it's part of my list. Have that in mind. It really helps in the long run. All right. If you're following up to this point, please give me a thumbs up so that I know that you are here. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Let me head back to the slide. Now, the title of this webinar is Landing Rules Using LinkedIn. So it will be an error if we don't talk about LinkedIn. Just like any social media account, what does your LinkedIn tell? What story does it tell us? I, for one, started LinkedIn. Okay. I started LinkedIn as a means to document my journey. I wasn't very comfortable on all the different social media platforms. Those people that are always trying to hide. And so I wasn't very keen on any platform, but I realized as at that time they used to say, oh, LinkedIn is just for professional things. And I used to apply to a lot of things. And sometimes you will see they'll ask you for social media accounts. I didn't have Instagram. I wasn't keen on WhatsApp like that. And all the others I wasn't on. So it made sense. I had to find one. I was like, okay, at least I can put achievements, because at that time LinkedIn was just, I've got 10,000 certificates in how to cook rice. I've got this and that. A lot of that was happening on there, so it made sense that I would pick that space. And so I settled on LinkedIn, and I would just drop things that I'll do. I'll go for this conference, I'll drop it. I'll do this, I'll drop it over there, just continue with my life. And so that leads me to say that you need to find your why, right? For your LinkedIn account, you need to know why. Now, these days, there's so much information. There's so many things that you can do with LinkedIn, but in the middle of it all, you say you give tea. You need to know your why. Why are you on the platform? So, like me, it was for documenting my journey or my process or some specific things. So I knew my why. That was why I was then. That was in the beginning. Now that has changed. But you still need to know your why. So as a beginner, you may already have a LinkedIn account. You may not already have one, but know your why. What does your entire profile say about you? It needs to tell us something. When you know your why, you'll be able to know what to put on there. And it's interesting that I say this because personally, sometimes I struggle because I have a lot of interest. I sit and I wonder, what at all do I put on there? But you figure it out. And so you'll be able to figure it out as well. But specifically, if you are using your LinkedIn to land roles, then it's important that everything about your account is geared towards the companies you'll be applying to, the individuals you'll be applying to, the groups or boards that you'll be applying to. Your profile is like your first elevator pitch. Remember, this webinar is how to land clients using LinkedIn. How to land roles using LinkedIn. And so we are using the whole system to land our clients. And so it is your first elevator pitch. When you send somebody a connection, when you send an HR executive who's just posted that so-and-so company is hiring, they see your account, it's your first pitch, right? Awesome. All right. So some parts of the LinkedIn, this part, we won't talk too much about it. If you have any questions, you can just let us know at the end and we'll take it. Now, your profile photo. So I conducted a bit of an experiment last year, right? I had a photo up, normal photo. I wish I had it, but I cleared my storage and so I couldn't find it for these slides. And then I switched it up after a while. The difference that it made, and it was just this theory that people have had that your profile photo doesn't really matter. I think it's a 50-50 situation based on my observation. Sometimes it does, other times it does. In the instance when it doesn't matter, it is because your work is mixed, but it's cool if you have a good photo on there. So I have exhibit A, which is Blossom. I'm sure a few of you who are on LinkedIn have seen her profile. So this is her profile photo, and this is Jasmine. I like her vibe. I don't know if people have seen her on LinkedIn. Her vibe is really cool. And so this is Jasmine. This is also her profile photo. You see a difference between the two, right? But it is all working. It is all working for these two people. And that's just to say, there are so many rules that people always bring up. But sometimes you really just need to sit down and do what works for you. Yeah, sure, know the rules and try and follow. But also do what works for you. But the bare minimum, please get a good photo on there. Now, the next part that we'll talk about. I also wanted to show you my profile. Do you see my photo? It's not like this. So they have a plain background. I don't, but it's still working for me and I'm fine. I've existed with this photo for some time. Nobody has died. Life has moved on. So the trick is sometimes you are sitting there, you think, oh no, I need to get a professional headshot. I'm going to do headshots in July, so I'll wait for July, and then when I get the shots, then I'll sit down and start working on it. My sister, my brother, you can start today. And in the age of AI, I don't want to start a whole debate on whether AI photos are good or not. I'll rather not enter that war zone. But whatever photo that you have, you can even remove the background. So I could have removed the background for this particular one. I just decided not to. I just decided to put it on there. Right. So do you, okay, but do you reasonably. I hope that makes some sense. Then we have the banner. A lot of people have said that this is a good space to let people know who you are and what you do. So if you take a look at it, you notice that there's a bit of a difference between these two, even though I can tell that that Campbell girl is the one who did Blossom's banner, right? So there's a bit of a difference in the delivery, but they're all communicating the same thing, what it is that you do. Some people prefer to put images of maybe themselves, maybe speaking at an event, because that image alone tells a powerful story because you are a speaker. So it makes sense if you put that photo up there. And these are also great. Honestly, these are great. So once again, just sit down, analyze some other people's accounts, and find what would work for you. Just make sure that it's clear, it's legible, if it's writing, and it gives us a piece of you in some way. Now to the headlines. Once again, there's a lot of talk about this. So Blossom says she's making you visible and irresistible on LinkedIn. So she's starting with herself. She's telling you what she can do for you. She's not talking about herself. She says she scaled 1,027 global brands and then organic growth and brand strategist. Now, that line, for example, is important because when people run searches, when they search for people to fill certain roles, people actually use LinkedIn to recruit for their companies and all of that. And they go and they just run these searches. And so if you have some of these keywords in your headline, it does you well, right? Jasmine, you see the vibe that she gives. We are back. That Canva girl. LinkedIn brand strategist and designer. If someone goes on LinkedIn and searches that up, most likely she'll come up. And then there is me, who is trying to figure it out. Now, the reason why I keep putting myself here is just to let you know that there are rules and there are people who have followed it and are successful. And there's me, who follows some of the rules and doesn't follow some of them. But I have still been able to learn some rules just to show you that you don't need a place of perfection to start. I hope this makes sense and I hope it helps somebody, it helps you to break out of your no, it needs to be perfect. I need this and that. I haven't figured it all. I haven't got it all figured out. And I doubt that these amazing ladies also have. But they are doing great and so can you. All right, so the about section, I won't spend too much time on this. Just tell us about yourself and maybe the service that you offer, etc., etc. If you don't have any experience with LinkedIn at all, can you put it in the chat so I look at it in a bit? If you don't have a LinkedIn account at all, you have never used the platform before, just let us know. Oh no, I haven't used it before. If you have, you can also say, yes, I do have a LinkedIn account, but I'm not frequent, or I am frequent with this, right? Something like that. Okay, so we have the featured section, which most people use to put links, external links for people to work with them. And this actually works great, used to show other parts of yourself. All right. Then there's also the recommendation sections where you can receive recommendations and you can also give recommendations. Now, for receiving recommendations, it's good. It's great, right? For people that you've worked with, for friends, for people that know you, you can do this just so that when people go through your profile, they can see, oh, hey, she's worked with this person. He's giving her a recommendation. She's giving her a recommendation. Then there are other sections of the LinkedIn profile. There's the skills section where you can add your skills. There's education, which is very self-explanatory. Then there's also a space where you can put your projects and things that you worked on. Now, because we're trying to optimize our profile to land roles, it's okay that we are also gearing our content towards maybe our expertise, the skills that we have, and the things that we do. But it's in two separate interviews. Once again, I'm sharing what has worked for me and can work for you too. In two separate interviews I've sat in, people have engaged me not because I sent them my portfolio and it looked okay. They engaged me because they said while they were looking through my profile, they noticed that I was doing other things, right? So I like the climate change space quite a lot. And so I do a few things over there. One particular person noticed that, and she was like, "Oh, she liked this because okay, fairly, her company was a sustainability based thing, but she still engaged because she felt I would understand beyond the fact that I'm just looking for a role, right? So while you are optimizing your profile and you want to look professional and everything, add a bit of humanness in there. Now, I know a lot of people are doing social Saturdays on LinkedIn. I don't know what they are calling the Sundays now, but social Saturdays will just post fun things, and that's really good. That's cool. So do same. Please don't go on LinkedIn and be on LinkedIn and only be choking us, impressing us with all your numerous achievements, right? Sometimes recruiters and people want to see the human part of you. And it's important that you're able to showcase that. Once again, like any other social media platform, you don't need to give us your life. We're not saying come and sit there and tell us the year you were born and everything that is going on with you. That's not it. We're just saying give us a little something. Choose, right? I have a guitar over here. If one day I wake up and decide to go and post that on there, then right. And so a bit of humanness, but do the things right to make sure that people notice you. Okay. Let me just check if there are any questions. Okay, so I can see Edna says she has a LinkedIn account. All right, so what we're going to do is at the end, because I don't want to disturb the whole process, I'll take a look. We'll all take a look at one or two people's LinkedIn accounts, and then we'll just go with it. So Peggy says she has a LinkedIn account. She deleted a few posts, but she has started posting. Okay, Peggy. Sarah says she has an inactive LinkedIn. Michael says he has, but is not active. Shalom Rose Asian says mine has an AI photo. Joseph Jaja says, what if you're an introvert? Okay, let's answer Joseph's question, right? Joseph, it's 100% okay to be an introvert. I like to call myself an introvert, but it doesn't really work anymore because they've been telling me that is a lie. But I like to stay indoors, okay? People don't believe it. But guys, I'm telling you the truth. If you leave me in my house with books and now Crady, the food is no. If you just leave me in my house, it will just be an interesting something. And I'm okay, right? It's okay to be an introvert, but you have to just be analytical of some things, right? You have to be analytical of some things. It's like you see the way some people have some bad character. Some of us, all of us are not perfect people. We may have some traits, and we keep telling us, "Hey, that's how I was born." Me, when I get angry, heaven will come down, right? But you listen to said person, and you just know that actually this thing can be worked on, right? And so, Joseph, if you are an introvert, we're not asking you to come put your life out there. No, that's not what we are asking you. But we are asking you to do some things that you need to do to get roles using the platform LinkedIn. You don't even have to post a picture, even though it posts, the algorithm likes those things. You just have to find your way around it. Just sit down, maybe just give yourself some time. What can I share? What can I not share? And also, this is social media, right? So you are not necessarily going out interacting with the people one on one. I also know sometimes texting is draining, and talking to people it can be very draining, Joseph. But if it must be done, it must be done. Let me write this down. Towards the end, I would ask anybody who also has a top up for Joseph to answer so that we can all help our brother. So what if? Okay. So I'll bring this up, and if in case I forget to mention it, please just say I want to help Joseph by answering this question. All right. Oh, Gifty, you gave me the hours for Australia. Thank you. 12 hours. Okay. Peggy says, okay. So Peggy says that she used to shoot content on camera using scripts at her previous workplace, I would add customer service skills to my list. So, Peggy, if you were a beginner, we know that you have customer service skills, and we know that you are able to do content, so your content creation. You could sit down and tell yourself, what can I add to this? Maybe I can add copywriting, maybe I can add proofreading, or I just want to leave it at this. Then, when you are done, you do the next thing, which we've already spoken about. Which people need my services? Whom can I work with? Right? You do that analysis, so you flow from that angle. Thank you for sharing. Michael says he's really proficient with research. He also interned at UGSGS as part of the Vice Dean administrative staff. Okay. I went to UG, but interestingly, I don't know the full meaning of the SGS. So please let me know what that fully means. But Michael, you're really good at research. So now you've identified something that you can do. But Michael, we need to break it down. So I feel like if I know the meaning of SGS, that will help me. So I'll be back to you, Michael. I shall be back to you. Serum says I can be a receptionist or administrative assistant. That's my role as a national service currently. Okay, so Serum, a receptionist, because it's a remote space, in that sense will not work because you're looking for a remote role. But administrative assistant, 100%, you are on the right spot. As for you, your dreams are very valid to come true. Yes, and so just keep that in mind and just apply all the steps we've gone through so far. We'll conclude and then you just see how it is. All right, back to our slides. Whew. All right. So after you have worked on your LinkedIn, you've identified your skills. You have sat down and asked yourself, which people can I work with? Where would I ideally prefer my ideal client or companies working from? Is based, sorry. All of that. You've sat down and done all of that. Now you've sat down and gone through your LinkedIn. It may not be 100% okay. It may not be perfection. You may not have funds to get an external graphic designer to do your banner for you, but you worked on something. Then comes the part. Once again, this is what I do that has worked for me. Truthfully, it might not work for you because you may not be doing some things right, but I'm just a message away to support. And I have some friends on the call who would also be able to support. So the outreach or cold pitching, which is a strategy that I use. Reaching out to potential clients, employers, or partners with whom you have no prior relationship. You don't know them from anywhere. You are just sitting down minding your own business after one or two things and you decide, oh, you're going to outreach. And during this outreach, you offer your services, products, or ideas to the people. It is a proactive process. It means that you didn't wait for the role to come to you. You went on your own accord. It's an unprompted form of marketing or job search. Now, LinkedIn works for some people in the sense that they see jobs and they apply to them and they land them, which is great. Now, this particular way of seeing jobs and applying, I believe, is in two ways. I don't know if you have all noticed, those of you who have accounts, but there seem to be a lot of job postings. Oh, so and so is hiring an executive assistant, so and so is hiring an accountant. People apply to those things, and well, it works for some. It doesn't work for some. And then you notice that a chunk of it comes from these middle parties, right? So you click on the person's profile, and then you notice that, well, actually, it's not a company, but the person who posted this with a group called jobswelike.com or applytojobsdaily.com. And so they are the middle person. That's a chunk of it. Then there's another part that comes directly from people who work within the company. That's not our focus for today. But if Okay, this is for you if you are an intermediate, if you are working a bit in the space, because some of you are here. You pick these group of people over the middlemen because it works better for you. And going on, you see a few things, but based on the kind of people that you are pitching or engaging, you and following and responding to and liking their stuff, you begin to see that the quality leads, in this case, we call them leads, the leads that you have will begin to be very, very quality. And so instead of seeing a job post where 1 million people are going to apply, you're going to see that you probably get one contact who you probably wanted to pitch to, but you haven't yet, and she's posted a job, and you most likely be the only person from your country in that list, right? Because you are building your list authentically. I don't know if that makes sense, and if that's going a bit too much, but let me just leave it here. So it's a proactive and prompted form of marketing or job search, right? A lot of different ways. And so typically what happens is you identify your skill and you decide, okay, let me reach out to this person who works at so and so company. It looks like a company that will require my skills. So let me text this person, he's the CEO. Let me send a DM. He's the CEO. Or let me read this person. I see he works in marketing. Or let me reach this person. It looks like he works in a company, so why not? Let me reach them. You don't just reach people. You don't just message people and send them bland messages. Hi, my name is Sayram. I can do A, B, and C. Let me know if you need my services. That is not wrong in itself. And truth be told, as a beginner, I have done that. And it's worked for me once or twice. But please, that's nonsense. Just because it worked doesn't mean it's the right way to go. Right? Let's just take a read at this particular thing. So this guy is just a sec. My slides have decided to go forward. All right. He says, I don't mind folks sending me cold sales emails or DMs. This is LinkedIn. That is what the platform is for, after all. I am a small business owner and have to send sales pitches myself. We are here to do business. But I have to confess, I get legitimately angry when folks pitch me and the very first sentence is a lie. It's a lie that's in there because they bought my email address from some database and never bothered to clean it because they don't have enough English fluency to understand what they pitched, or because they are so focused on volume that they don't respect themselves or their products enough to make sure they are sending pitches to the right people. So it just occurs to me that some of us may not, I'm speaking from my head for this particular session and not realistically, so let me just take it back a little bit. So for cold pitches, it means that you've identified people that you want to work with and you reach out to them, right? So I go through LinkedIn and I find the CEO and I send a connection request. I go through, maybe I'm aiming for people who are YouTubers, but they also have accounts on LinkedIn. Maybe I want to help them with their video editing, Peggy. And so I go and I find these people on LinkedIn. I send them a connection request. Today, I send them a connection. Today is Friday. I send them a connection request. They probably accept today. Let's leave it there. I go through. I find 5, 6, 7 people who are like this. I send them a connection request. So after I go through and I've picked people who work in YouTube because I want to edit their videos. I've picked 5. Then I go to, some Instagram influencers, but they're also on LinkedIn. So let me just see if I can find them, either find their email or I'll find their accounts. If it's LinkedIn, I send them a connection. We'll talk about email separately. I don't want to mix it up. And so I send them a connection request. You see, you need to understand the people that you are pitching to have a higher rate of success, right? You don't want to pitch like everybody. these people that we see on LinkedIn, right? These people that we see with all the followers, and we are thinking, oh, maybe they need my service. They might. But can you just imagine the number of people, the volume of people who are probably thinking the same thing that you are? That, well, I can DM this person and offer him my service. Just imagine the number of people, the number of DMs they're getting every day. And so there needs to be a difference between your pitch and the rest. There needs to be a difference between your pitch and the rest. And that can come only if you do your homework. And your homework is studying the people that you pitch. See, you treat it like a sales funnel, right? A sales funnel where you don't expect magic to happen in one day, but you do the work so that in a week or 2 or 3 or 1 month or 2 months, you begin to see the results. I don't know if that makes sense. So if you are just jumping, you start with energy, with momentum, thinking that, well, when I send this person a message by Wednesday, he would have replied and this and that would have happened. No, you send them a connection and you wait. You watch and wait. You watch and wait. If, for example, I'm a copywriter, basic copy is text, right? So maybe I write and I want to pitch somebody who more or less needs my service. Maybe they have a newsletter. And I'm observing and they say they have a newsletter, but I've noticed that, and you see, I will not notice unless I've been paying attention, that they say they have a weekly newsletter, but I've been following them for 2 weeks and the newsletter has never come. So when I pitch said person, I go and I say, hi Amy or hi Peter. Then I talk more and I tell you, I noticed that you say you have a LinkedIn, but over the last few weeks I haven't seen it. Perhaps this is something I'm able to support with. The language is different. You've identified a challenge that you could readily and actively help them solve. Now, it's not in all instances that people will have problems you can visibly see. No. So sometimes you need to use your intuition, but you don't always be in a hurry, right? Sometimes when you are doing this, just consider it like a sales funnel. You may not see the results today, but trust me, in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, all the results of the things that you did in month 1 will begin to play out. It will begin to play out. All right. So in the previous slide, he's saying that don't lie to me. Why are you telling me you read my newsletter when you didn't do it? And he's upset because he says people don't do their homework. And this is what we want to do to be the difference. We want to do our homework. Our homework is understanding the people that we pitch. Once again, this is why from the beginning I said, if you're looking for a quick reach, something to work with, this is not the webinar for you. Because there are rules, like I said earlier, there are rules that these job listings and people put up, which is okay, but sometimes the odds are very slim for you because 1,000,001 people are applying. So how do you create your own niche? How do you carve your own niche? Searching for people at your own pace, searching for people to work with. And I know sometimes this is difficult to hear, right? And it's not a nice process. I know how it feels like, right? Sometimes I have 1 or 2 clients and I want some additional ones and I'm looking to fill my pipeline with leads. And the people are not coming. You send mails, they will not respond. You have to go back and revisit your strategy, right? But it pays. And so someone would ask, so what if I need this urgently? I would say that it's better to start than just be there. So maybe you're applying for physical roles, but you want to buttress it with this remote search. Perhaps it may happen overnight. Perhaps it may not happen overnight for you, but it will definitely happen if you know your stuff. It will definitely happen if you know your stuff and if you're doing things right. And so just keep it in mind. Do your homework. All right. So your pitch checklist. Your homework is done. You know the people that you're pitching to. I've pitched to people I connected with like yesterday, and life, the world be okay. So like I said, the rules are there, but sometimes follow your intuition as well, right? Follow your intuition. Do your homework. read about the person, check their website if they have one. Sometimes it's not about going to send them a message and talking till eternity, no, but at least add a thing or two. And also, sometimes you notice that this will help you inform the kind of people that you pitch. So I mentioned to you that I like the climate change space, sustainability. So sometimes I actually look for people who are within the sustainability space, right? And then let's say they are based in Europe, because that's the place I ideally like to pick people from. Okay, worked with a few people in the US, and that was okay. But ideally, if you leave me, I'll pick Europe. And then I would search and I'll see that, oh, they are doing this. I can speak to it. And I'll say, oh, hi, I like this and that and that and that. I've recently been navigating the climate change space myself, and it's so interesting. So that is why I appreciate the work that you are doing at da 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 da. I am a da 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 da, and I'm able to support with so so and so. I hope this makes sense. So do your homework, right? Your homework will help you even to know who to pitch. Now, draft your text properly. All that I've said. Check for typos. Me, I've sent pitches with typos in it. The world didn't end, but please be better than I am. Then your CV must be in check. Your CV must be in check. Have a CV ready. When they ask you, you can present it. And for those who don't have CVs, I have a link that you can get a CV at. I don't know if I can share it today, but we'll sort that out later. And this has been such a game changer for me. A clickable portfolio. Let me see the link here. The link will come. All right. Now this is my old portfolio, right? I'm going to trying to open it up, and then when I was this is my old portfolio, but let me share this tab instead. All right, so it says do what you love, I'll handle the rest. And then I say, oh, I handle admin, design, social media, and all of that. So I have some of the clients that I've worked with. Oh, let me just check if you can see if this screen is clear. Yes, you can see. And so yeah, so these are some of the people that I've worked with. So Lorraine is on here, Toronto Stokes is on here, and I put them at the top, right? When you open it now, it will be entering your eyes. And I niche down because I said I was working with mompreneurs and entrepreneurs. That's not because it's just a thing that I fancy. Like I like to see the mothers and they're up and about. Sometimes they have so much to do and they want to do it all. They are running businesses. So I'm able to go to you and I say, my sister, you don't have to do it all alone. Let me support you, right? And that support can be freelance, contractual, or as an employee, as I have with Toro at the top over there. And then something simple, nothing extraordinary, right? And so once again, this is my old one. I'm working on another one because my roles have evolved, and I have to update. These are some of the tools that I use. Canva, ScoreUp. I don't know if you people know ScoreUp, but oh goodness, it's such a good tool. It's called scorecard marketing. It's an interesting concept. If you're interested, just let me know. You can text me sometime later. I'll tell you about it. It's really, really cool. If you're into marketing, please look into this. You can present it as a whole service and actually charge people for it. Then Google, then Kajabi. Kajabi is a very interesting system. It's like a customer management system of sorts, but it does so many things. You can host your website on there. You can do a bunch of things on there, and it will be very strange if you don't put any AI in your portfolio, right? And also, this Growth Lab is also kind of similar to Kajabi in some ways. Then some of the tools, there's Notion, there's Spendex, there's Tableau, there's Bleo. Some of the projects that I worked on, and then I just put a list work together tab here. Now this is not very, very fancy, okay, and I did this in Canva, but it does you well, right? It does you well. It does you well. Like I can't overemphasize it. It does you well. it does you well. Being able to talk to somebody, like look at the caliber of people that you are speaking to. They are busy, busy, busy. They are on the run, run, run. They're on the go, go, go. Sending them a link that they can just tap on. It doesn't look like much, but oh boy, it really does you well. And so I advise, I would advocate that you get a portfolio, a clickable portfolio, a clickable portfolio. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can even be one page if you are up to it. But please try small. Add some extra pages, please. And so that's that for the portfolio. Get a clickable portfolio. It does not necessarily replace your CV. When I pitch, I don't use my CV. When I send the messages, when I DM on LinkedIn, I usually use my portfolio, and then sometimes I may send. Rarely do I send my CV, but when I apply, because I have built some people that I'm following, when they make a call for openings in their companies, when I apply, usually when they ask, and these people too are quite cool, so you see they'll ask either send your CV or they'll present or send us a link to your portfolio. What I do is I send my CV because I want to really, really articulate on there. And then in the footer section of the CV, or on top first, and not in the header, just on top. And then in the footer section, I put, please check my portfolio here to see my references. Actually, the goal is to get you to look at my reference in my portfolio, not the references per se. But I put it that way so you go and check my references and look at my portfolio. Because I actually want you to look at my portfolio, but I want you to get the wording and all of the things that I've put in my CV. So I give you my CV, but go check my portfolio to see that, creativity a bit, able to do these things. You can see the real life things that I've done on there. So consider that. You don't have to do that, but it's something to consider. All right. Once again, a clickable portfolio, people of the earth. So I have to show you some of the things that have worked for me, right? And so this is Letitia. I sent Letitia a message, I believe sometime in December 17, 2025. She says, thanks, Edna. Lovely message. I will look at your site with time, just to emphasize the portfolio. See the way she says site. It's giving, she knows her stuff. It's giving, okay. It's giving, no PDF for me to open and look at. No. Just click it. I have made it easy for you. Just tap on it and go and look at what I can do for you. Even though when I was pitching, I told you what I can do, but no, just go click on this. Just look at it because I have time for you. I put in efforts to create that for you to take a look at. I hope I'm convincing you to get a portfolio. And you don't have to be a creative to get a portfolio, right? Irrespective of what you do, you need have a portfolio so that you can put a picture of your nice, beautiful, handsome self on that they can see that, wow. Then put other things, tools. Sometimes it's even just the tool section, the logos, just arrange it all nicely and work for you. All right, so she said, lovely message. I'll look at your site. I say, ready when you are. Hope you have an amazing day. As you can see, January the 2nd. I think for this particular one, I didn't follow up, but she reached out to me. And she said, what did she say? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. This was a short role because she got quite busy. So this particular person she's a photographer of sorts. She does films and documentary in the Amazon and a lot of things with the indigenous people. So this is what she was doing. She was looking to come down to the level of normal people, be taking pictures and some things. So she wanted to see if I could help redesign the website, which I can. Remote work will show you things you don't know how to do. So I would also like to announce that now I am a website designer. Yes. And so actually, that was what we're going to do. But then we did some work for a little bit, but she got another role. She had a contract with BBC or something like that, so she had to go and she realized she didn't have the time, so she said she'll get back, which is absolutely fine. Just to let you know, I got a response. So here you can see she asked if there's a call and the language, the way that you present yourself, right, the way that you speak. And I have a dear sister whom I only met yesterday on LinkedIn, and she made a post, and I noticed that in the screenshots that she posted, there was a lot of um how do you call it? And so she was referring to the people that she was asking the questions to, which I believe were the recruiters. She was calling them like Ma, hi Ma, good afternoon. And I texted her, of course, and she was so nice to me. And she was like, oh, okay, thank you. And someone else also mentioned it, so now she has learned 100%. And I love that she was very ready to listen to what I had to say. You don't enter the professional space with that kind of language. Now, sometimes I try to match the energy of the people that I see. And you would only know this if you've done your homework, right? If you've been looking at the kind of posts that people have been making. Some people are very excited, they are very happy in this life on LinkedIn. And so you see the kind of posts they make. Oh, my cats were dancing today and I was very happy. And oh, life is going well. And so when you text these people, I don't want to say channel, you bring in this kind of energy that you see from them, right? And sometimes just be yourself. If you are bubbly, that is show your text. If you're not, that's okay. So as you can see, she texted me on 3rd January. I think I missed it. And then January 5th, she came back to me. So I've told you what happened with this particular person. Then we have this lady. Once again, you should be wondering, what at all did I tell her? She said, oh, thank you, Edna. That just brought a bright smile to my face. Happy to chat with you on a Zoom call. We are definitely looking to add a virtual assistant to the team. Let's talk in detail of how we can work together. This is genuine. And I responded and said, oh, and I in turn smiled because that made you smile. Would love to jump on a call too. Please let me know when it works for you. And I'd say, oh, enjoy the weekend because I believe this was a Saturday morning. And I did a follow-up, right? So sometimes we may feel shy following up. A few times I don't follow up when I notice it probably won't work, or my intuition tells me just let it go. But based on the response I get, I follow up. Now there are equally people who don't respond to me at all. A ton of them actually. They outweigh the number of people who respond to me. Does that mean I stop? Sometimes. But does that mean I stop completely? Right? Sometimes it can be very discouraging, but and this is interesting because I still have clients, right? I work in a company, right? And I still want extra people to work with, at this time. So even with people you're already working with, sometimes it gets discouraging. Imagine not having anyone to work with at all. And so I feel you, I understand when I say that. I get you when I say, oh, believe me, I mean to say, believe me when I say I know how it feels, right? I know it will be hard, but it's a process and I'll urge you to stay with it. So I followed up with this. This actually didn't end in a lead. She says, she forwarded my portfolio, once again, to her HR, I believe, but it looks like they have put a hold on hiring for the time. So I was like, oh, sure, that's okay. Then Exhibit C, where I show you one of what I actually texted. Now, this is old me, okay, and I won't appreciate if you copy this and use, because personally, I don't even think it's great. It just worked. It just happened to work for me, but this is not a great page. So I go and I say, I'm having a huge now. For this particular person, the way I knew it would work was because when I sent the message, when I sent the connection request, guess what happened? She was the first person to send me a message. After I sent her a connection request, she said, hi, it's such a pleasure to connect with you. I said, oh, I see. Interesting, because I hadn't pitched. And so just by that alone, I knew that she needed some work done. Do you understand? She needed somebody to come into her company. You see. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. That partially accounts for this. So I say I absolutely love you, even though it may not be the best page, it worked. So I read her profile. I signed an NDA for this particular person, so that's how come I bled her name and all of that. So and an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. And so I told her, I love her work, and I tell her, which I mentioned earlier, that I've been navigating the space, and it's great to see that she's in the sustainability space, and I admire all of that. And then I make my pitch, and then I say, look at my portfolio, right? And then she replies and says, so I think after some chats in the middle, she says, thank you, Edna. Looking forward to meeting you on Wednesday. Lovely, speak soon. I remember this happened in November in the evening. It was a 6 p.m. call. And I got back and I said, oh, it was so great speaking to you. She's got a great personality. And she said, it's a pleasure to meet her. And then we went on to work together just to show you. And just to show you proof that I'm not just trying to play over here, right? So this section is a bit of a contract from one of them. The agreed rate was 10 USD per hour. This was not a retainer. So a retainer is when you agree on a particular figure and they pay you that figure per month, as opposed to they pay that figure per month based on the hours you do, as opposed to having what do we call it, a retainer where the sum is setting, right? So this all of this depends. We're not going to look at that today, maybe another time. So I have this retainer, then just another one over here to show you. This was £595. You see why I say I like the pounds? When the pounds converts, is really high and mighty. It's really high and mighty, just to show that if you follow the process, you can do it. If I have done it, then you can do it as well. So after all that I've said, we've spoken about all the 4 things that you can do practically to get you started. Some of you might be wondering, after that, what's next? Well, after that, you get people to work with. There's the bit about contracts, and there's a bit about international payment platforms. Some of you may be wondering, so if they pay in pounds and dollars and all these foreign currency, how do I receive it? We can talk about it some other time, or I'll probably just prepare a document and share at another time. But there are platforms you can use. You can sign up on and receive payments. If it's in dollars, you receive it directly in dollars. There'll be some charges, of course. If it's pounds, you receive it in pounds. There's Grey Accounts, there's Rainest, there's Accrue, and all of these platforms. Or if you wanted to receive it in your local currency, you give them your local bank account number alongside usually a SWIFT code, and every bank has it. You just need to ask them for it, and they will provide. Aside this, there's a whole lot more to this whole remote thing. There are a lot of questions on how do I price. When they ask me what are my rates, or how much do I charge, or when they ask me all of these things, there's so much. And we just touched on the basics for today, because that is all that time will allow us to take. But we'll make provisions so that if you have further questions, you can answer, you can ask. So some useful resources up there. I'm trying to build a YouTube channel, but I've been stuck on ideas, and so hopefully maybe some of your questions will give me ideas to create videos on. I know that there are a ton of things and videos out there, but sometimes you just want someone who is based in your home country or based in Africa telling you some things while the others are not, and I'm trying to be that girl. Then there's this creator called Daya. I don't know how to tell you, but Daya is so authentic. I would love for all of you to follow me, of course, but also follow Daya. Very, very important that you follow Daya. The resources that she puts on her page, they are practical, they make sense. I don't know how else to convince you, but if you're looking for somebody who will be able to help or provide tips through her content, Daya is your girl. She's also on Instagram. I'm also on Instagram, so give us a follow. And also, we have a new community for beginners. This is for beginners, but you can join if you're an intermediate or you are working on it, and we'll just put you in another group. If you are, um, if you are